Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. That was us, your host, Mandy Moore, Christopher Sullivan, myself, Sterling Brown, and we have a special guest in the house today.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Susan Kelechi Watson. What up, Sue?
What up, y'all?
How you doing?
I'm great. This is awesome, y'all.
Listen, we're lucky
Busting
to have
with
her right
pride.
now. We want to, first of all, tell folks why you in LA right now. Sue lives in New York full time, but she's in LA. What you working on? What you doing? What you got coming?
I am basically stalking you because I just stay across the street while you shoot your series at Paramount. I'm just waiting for you to come out the gate.
What's your show? Go ahead.
I'm doing The Residence.
Doing
for
The Residence.
for Netflix. Yeah,
On
Netflix and
Netflix.
Shondaland.
That's right. That's right. You want to tell them a little bit about your part and what the show is about?
Sure.
Or is there secrets? Do you have to keep it?
No, there's
like-
no secrets. Thank God. I
Okay.
gotta keep them all secrets.
We know a
Jesus.
little something about keeping secrets.
Yes, we do very much. No, this show is I think it's out in the open, but there is a big secret.
Okay.
Because it's a who has done this.
oh,
Yeah.
the old who has done this?
Not who done it.
No.
Has done this.
Shout out to Andre Brower, who I think originated that
Yes.
line. But it's a murder mystery whodunit set in the White House among the resident staff of the White House.
Got it.
Okay.
So, it's not the
political arm.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the West Wing.
Right.
We would be the basement,
Okay.
the mezzanine.
It's an upstairs,
Yeah.
downstairs sort of
It
thing?
is kind
like
of an
Downton
upstairs.
feeling to it?
It's a bit of. I think so. I think about that a bit because so much of what Downton was about had so much of the people who work there, but this is all about them.
Okay.
And a murder happens among them, and everybody's a suspect.
Is law enforcement come into it, or are you guys sort of figuring it
Yes,
out?
law enforcement
Okay.
comes into it
Okay.
in the form of Uzo Aduba.
Okay. Heavy hitters.
Yeah. If you have any theme music, just lay it in there.
Okay,
Then
we
just want
put
to
it-
let y'all know what it is.
Uzo Aduba.
Yeah, there we go.
Got it. Okay. You happy? You feeling good? You
Feel
pleased with
great.
the work?
It's fun. It's so fun. It's so good. I mean, I'm really. It feels quite like a blessing and very fortunate to go from one really stellar cast into another cast that is so talented and like. There's these big scenes that kind of remind me of like when we would all be at the end of season 6 and there was like 18 of us in the room while Randy's in the back room.
Yeah. Just resting.
Just right.
Sleeping, napping.
And we just got off of 2 weeks of scenes like that, where it was like 18 to 20 of us in a room, and I got to just watch people. When you just get to be audience.
Yeah.
I'm cheering my ass off in my head because I was like, people, it's really such an amazing thing, I think, when people get a role that not only fits them, but they elevate it into this thing that becomes this other thing that you didn't know was even on the page.
Yeah.
And then the page is already so good. So I love those moments where I can sit and kind of look around and see what everybody else is doing.
Okay.
So in that, I
Yeah.
know that it's something very special.
All right, this is a good transition because
Yeah.
you want to talk about somebody taking something and lifting it off the page and elevating it into something
Yeah.
that we didn't even know it could be.
Talk about you.
that's
Talking about
very
you.
kind.
Talking about you.
Talking about
All
Sue.
about you.
Yeah.
How you've told this story a few times, but just for everybody, like how did this job of Beth Pearson come into your lap?
Okay. But you don't like when I tell this story because I keep saying I don't like to read.
No,
and you don't
tell
like
the
me to
story.
say I don't like to read.
Be real.
All right.
Do you?
I'll be 100. Okay. So the story happened, I guess it was end of 2015, right? That we were all
Yeah.
auditioning for this. And I had auditioned for Danai's play. Danai Gurira, as many people know, is also a playwright.
Eclipse? Or which
No, it was for Familiar.
Familiar, okay.
And it was going off Broadway. But I had worked with Andre, a good friend of ours, Andre Holland, and he and I, we all went to NYU, and so we were in a room and we were rehearsed, like he was working with me on this audition for Danai's play. And, I just had it down and he was like, oh, you got this. You're going to get this. And that night or something, another audition came in for an untitled Dan Fogelman project. And it was 2 scenes. And I did not know, or maybe it wasn't attached. It depends on who you ask the story, that there was a script attached. I just saw the 2 scenes. And it's pilot season kind of, so you
so
get...
things are kind of topsy-turvy.
I'm a
I
working
didn't get a
actor in
script.
New York. You didn't get...
I only
Okay, so
got- I
I'm
only
going to
got
say
my
I
2
didn't get a
scenes.
script. Okay. Because
Okay.
I'm going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
So, working actor in New York is one of the auditions that comes in.
Yeah.
I'm very focused on familiar and trying to get this.
Yes.
So I go in and I think familiar was first, or maybe it was the pilot was first.
Also, let us say that Danai is one of your best friends too. Like you guys are homies.
Yes,
And so
right.
the
So-
excitement of working with your homie.
Yes,
Understood.
that was very strong, right?
Yeah.
So I think I may have gone into This Is Us first. I go into a back room at Telsey, like just a tiny little back room with somebody who's just running the camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just knock out the scene and walk
Go on with your
out.
day.
Yeah, go on with the day. It's like one of
People can't imagine how unromantic it is.
there was negative romance.
Yeah.
Settle.
Yeah.
0 stars on Yelp. No romance.
You walk into an empty room and a person's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It would-
And they're just
You
reading
stand over
like
there.
A little
they
to the
just-
left.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And then
Yeah.
you slayed it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was it. And I did it and left. And then I'm off to familiar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, let me get, because I don't want to embarrass my friend now. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? My friend in the room. And then this person is the director. It's everybody. It was a panel of people. It's like 7 people. Because
Totally.
it's like the final. They just called me
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
final. And I was like, okay, I'm good. I got this. I walk into the room. There is a particular part in the scene
Okay.
where scripted, the character removes her drawers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I thought,
Yes. Go on.
I'm curious.
Yeah. Slow down.
well, why not include the prop
Why?
of the underwear? Since I have this down, it's gonna flow like I'm taking off my drawers.
You doing
and
a dress? Are we in a dress?
I'm
We
in a
skirt?
dress,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, okay.
and
I got you.
somehow I rig it to where I'm not actually taking
Gotcha.
off, but I'm making
Yeah.
it. So when the audition's going well, that will really work.
Oh no. Oh God. Sarah.
For some reason, I don't know why. But it was like my tongue swelled in my mouth. The words just weren't coming
flowing,
out.
yeah.
It did not flow.
Yeah.
Whoever was reading with me, it was like there was just not a connection. I'm in there and I can feel the scene going to the floor. And I
With
go
2
to
pairs of
pull out
drawers.
my panties. And I pull the panties out, which it's something that's already dead. Like this is now dead.
Yeah.
So now it just looks like this girl throwing panties
Yeah.
around.
I gotta finish.
I gotta finish strong.
No, this was the plan. This was the plan.
Do what you rehearse.
Yeah.
I pull my drawers out, throw them on the floor. Y'all got any notes?
It was a mic drop moment. It was the end of the scene.
Is that exactly what you did? You said y'all got these notes.
Oh, still.
Y'all, when I tell y'all there are moments in your life that you just wish did
Now-
not happen.
Yeah, and the worst part, because I'm picturing it. The worst part is not that you threw them out. The worst part is you had to go pick them up. It's
You're
that
so
moment.
right.
It's that moment. There, let me just grab these.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. Let me
Bend
just.
down, pick up the underwear.
I'll
Go
just
get
I'll
my-
take.
Let me just
In my mind,
Put it back on.
put my drawers.
in my mind, they were right by the director's foot, and I'm
Yep.
just like, "Could you just take your foot
Yeah.
off my?"
It was like your
but it
last
was-
ditch
it
effort.
was-
You're like, do you know?
And as actors, you think, "Oh man, okay, so maybe it's one of those moments where it's not as bad as I thought."
Yeah, sure.
And people were just quiet because they were
They were
listening.
engaged.
Yeah.
They were bowled over.
They were riveted, is what I was hoping.
Then did not call you.
And no, I called her. And that's what I knew, because I was like, ain't nobody even call. And when she hit me with the girl, you know how things happen. And I was like, I promise you, I don't know what happened. And this is what she said. This is the wisdom that I got.
Yeah.
She was like, you know what? It's probably a blessing. I bet God is going to give you a pilot or something. And if you would have left my show for a pilot, I'd be mad. And I said, I promise you this. Hold on, I have a beep. Get on the other line. Click over. So they have a pin in you for this untitled Dan Fogelman project thing. And I said, okay, all right, cool. I got back over with her. And I was like, where did I go wrong then? I don't understand. Like, how did the audition get? And I continued the conversation with her.
Yeah.
While I got the...
You were like, yeah, whatever.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, I got the... Because it's pilot season and it just never felt like
Yeah.
Sure.
it's going to happen.
Right.
Did you know who Dan Fogelman was at the time? Because I didn't.
I think I didn't at that time. But then once you get like a pin and stuff, you start like looking, and I'm
looking
like
around.
crazy stupid.
Yeah,
Let me back up one thing. At this point in time in your career, how many pilots had you booked?
That's a good question. I was good for like getting on a show after that process.
Right.
So I was
no
the
pilots
person
then.
who was like, I would like get like a guest star and it would turn into a recurring
Sure,
or something like that. So I don't remember a pilot
So
before that one.
you didn't have a history of spending your time holding your breath for pilots. 'Cause
Exactly.
It's like they
Like
just,
waiting to see
whatever.
if they got
Exactly.
picked up.
Especially out of New York. New York is a harder place to
Right.
book them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, they put a pin in you that turns into you coming out to LA. Was there any other interstep before you came out to LA to
There
read for
was. They wanted to do a callback with John and Glenn.
Okay.
And so I did the callback with them in New York. And then when I got the call for the final callbacks, they said, look, there's an option for you to either go out to LA tomorrow or let them use your tape from that callback with Dan Glenn. And I said, man, well, let me think about it. I mean, I don't know. They're like, well, what did you think about the pilot? I was like, yeah, I haven't read the pilot. They're like, you haven't read the pilot? Go home and read the pilot right now. So I was like, well, I don't think somebody sent it to me in my email, the way my email came up. So anyway, they sent me the pilot. I go home.
I don't have an attachment?
I go home and I read the pilot, and my friend was with me, and I promise you, I read, and every time I turned the page, I was like,
Yeah.
it was that. And by the time I closed it, I just went to my phone. I was like, I'm going to LA. And I picked up the phone and I was like, I'll go. You could put me, they were like, okay, we can get you on like a 6 a.m. I was like, I'm going.
Wow.
And that's how, I mean, there was no question in my mind. No question in my mind.
And when you came out to LA for the final callback, was that a reading with Sterling?
It was.
Got
SK was
it.
in the room. It was Sterling. It was Dan. It
John and
was
Glenn.
John and Glenn.
And then so there's 3 people there. There's a girl, Angel Parker, who was in OJ with me. Sue was there. Tracy Toms, who's from New York, who graduated from Juilliard same year I graduated from NYU. And then I think Marcia Stephanie decided just to use her tape.
Who's fantastic.
Right?
Yeah.
And so this is the part where the part of the story that's big awesome was it was like I knew it was Sue all along or whatnot. But the part is I know all these sisters, man. Like it's like when you get to this place in your career where you're privileged enough or whatnot, and like people are gonna come in, it's like I know everybody. And so they'd ask me like who I was like, man, I'm not taking a job away from a sister. Like that's the last thing that you can put on your boy.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was like, but like it was so much fun to read in the room. And because I think John and Glenn, even more than Dan, like they're like, I think it's Sue. And I was like, I think you're right. I think you're right. And I was and was so when we got to set and we got a chance to hang out because we knew each other from school.
Yeah,
but
I was
we're in
going to say,
different
you guys
classes.
have a history.
We know each other from school, but we're in different classes. So you spend most of your time with your classmates
Sure.
while you're at school. I'd seen your work. And then I'd come back, actually. I remember I was still living in New York. I remember you guys were doing Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. And I couldn't see the play, so I came to rehearsal one day. So I was like, Sue's a wonderful, incredible actor, and knew her to be a beautiful human being. But when we got on set and just got a chance to talk and vibe, I was like, and I came home one day and I told you this, I said, Rye, told my wife, I said, I love Susan Kelechi Watson. Doesn't take anything that I have away from you because you're my wife and I love you and we're gonna be together. I just have to let you know also that I have room in my heart to love this woman too. And she was like, okay. Like, no problems, no qualms at all whatsoever. And it's like I've been approached so many times, and I'm curious from your perspective, where people will talk about Jack and Rebecca, but they will talk about R&B like, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
That was that was something to watch. I'm curious, what kind of things do you hear about it?
I hear the same. It's like people really saw themselves in our relationship, which was like such a wonderful thing to hear, because I remember us when we first started being in the trailer and sort of speaking to what we wanted this to be for people.
Yeah.
What resonated for us when we saw a young Black couple on screen growing up, and what we wanted to resonate for people now.
Yeah.
And what were those conversations?
She always talked about Martin and Gina.
I did, because there was this thing about that. I hadn't seen that.
Sure.
And there was something about the unconditionalness of it that was it's something that we all knew, but we just had never seen expressed on any medium like that.
Yeah.
In that way. And there's something about when you say those two names together, for those who grew up on that, they know exactly what you're talking about. You know, like Kanye has it in a song, you know, feeling like Katrina with no FEMA. You see how devastating that is.
Right.
Like Martin with no Gina is right beneath that, because people who know that know what the devastation of that would be.
Sure.
And so I thought, if we can achieve that in people's hearts, and in a new way, you know what I mean? Whatever that is for us, then I feel very sure that we did the job that we came to do.
And I don't know if you remember the first 2 or 3 episodes of the show, but it happens like that happens almost instantly.
More That Was Us after this short break.
You know that old saying, a healthy cat is a happy cat?
I do. But unfortunately, my 3 cats haven't learned how to tell me they aren't feeling well yet. Though, funny enough, they're really good at waking me up in the middle of the night to tell me that they're hungry.
And that's why there's Pretty Litter.
Oh, Pretty Litter's ultra-absorbent crystals instantly trap cat bathroom smells, minimize mess and dust, and change color to help monitor early signs of potential illness in your cat, including urinary tract infections and kidney issues.
I mean, I have 2 little ones. I have one on the way. And the idea that being able to monitor the health of my cats, it just gives me such peace of mind. It's one less thing to worry about. It's one less vet trip to potentially take in the middle of the night if I can just look in the litter box and make sure that everything is all clear.
Okay, all right. You know, Pretty Litter ships free right to your door in a small, lightweight bag. So out with the giant box of kitty litter and in with the easy-to-use, mess-free Pretty Litter for a cleaner home and a healthy cat.
Pretty Litter helps keep tabs on my cat's health and keeps odors down. You and your cat will love Pretty Litter as much as we do. I promise you that. Go to prettylitter.com/TWU and use code TWU to save 20% on your first order and get a free cat toy.
Nice.
That's prettylitter.com/TWU, code TWU to save 20% and get a free cat toy. prettylitter.com/TWU, code TWU. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details. Let's take a minute to talk about the good folks at Talkspace. The leading virtual therapy provider is encouraging people to talk it out in therapy.
Let's take a minute. Listen, for many people, opening up to a therapist might feel uncomfortable, cathartic, exhausting, or exhilarating. But one thing's certain. If you keep talking or texting with a licensed therapist, you'll gain insights and uncover truths that you can only find in therapy. Get those personal breakthroughs and judgment-free support by signing up for Talkspace.
Now, do you think seeing a therapist or psychiatrist would be helpful, but you don't have the time to actually find one and meet with them or afford them? Well, try Talkspace. By doing everything online, Talkspace has made getting the help you want easy, accessible, and affordable.
At Talkspace.com, you can sign up online and get a personalized match with a provider that's right for you, typically all within 48 hours.
It's incredibly convenient to have virtual sessions with your licensed therapist from the comfort of your home. There's no need to commute to appointments, miss time at work, or line up childcare in order to attend sessions. It's mental health care made easy.
Talkspace can help with any specific challenges you might be facing. It's the #1 online therapy platform with licensed therapists in over 40 specialties, including anxiety, depression, substance abuse, relationship issues, and much more.
And we have something for you from Talkspace. Right now, they're offering every listener of this podcast $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com/TWU.
I'll save $80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com/TWU to get $80 off your first month with code SPACE80 and to show your support for the show.
That's Talkspace.com/TWU, code SPACE80.
So this is interesting because I remember talking to you about the pilot, and it's like, well, Beth didn't have a whole lot to do in the pilot or what have you. And then like episode 2, you have this conversation with William about your man and what he's gone through. And like, so I'm curious for you because you kind of take a leap of faith, trusting that like there's going to be something for me to eat in the show, like after you do the pilot or whatnot.
Right.
So what was it like for you to go from the pilot to that 102 and have that meet?
I guess I'm allowed to say this now.
Yeah.
Because
We'll see.
remember.
I guess we'll
Yeah,
find
we'll see.
out.
All right.
Find out.
Okay,
We'll
okay.
find out right now. Go.
But I remember Isaac, one of the showrunners, saying that it was only after they saw the monologue that they were like, oh, okay, so there's this Beth character now. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
I don't know that. I want to say it was something I feel like we kind of discovered together
Yeah.
on the show.
Right.
Maybe it was a bit of co-creation. So there was that leap of faith, right?
Yeah.
It's something you're coloring in lines, and some of the lines aren't fully formed yet. But in some ways it's dope because you're like, all right, well then I get to kind of, chime in on who this person is, and I get to like help fill out that body and that form and all of that. And so I think one brick laid on top of another, laid on top of another, laid on top of another, and it became this co-created thing.
I spoke to that a little bit because we were rewatching episode 105, and I remember the writers, and maybe even Dan came up to us like after we took our trip to the drugstore to get the birth test, and he was like, oh, like I can do comedy with these guys.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah, man, we like to do some funny, we flex every once in a while. Because I think in his mind, like he always saw us as like the stable couple, like that everybody sort of, we're the nucleus that everybody sort of satellites around or what have you, but we also are prone to our own shenanigans as well. Because we were just watching 106. And it's 106 is Korea Day.
With the song.
The piano.
At the piano.
If you had
owned
a farm.
Yeah.
It's good to know the future price of corn.
Take it out. It's like as if Randall was trying to channel Maxwell. He's trying to figure out the head voice. Anyway, but we have this scene where I'm trying to explain to you, and I'm looking for my index cards about what it is, and you're like, oh, all I can think about is pizza, right? And then I said, you're making fun of me. And you're like, I'm not making fun of you, but you're doing it with this smile. I was like, why are you smiling? She's like, I don't know. I'm smiling. And like, I throw you on the bed and we just start being silly. Like, it was sort of like the beginning of like, for me, like when I saw it, I was like, oh, we're dumb and we are so in love that like whatever happens, like she's gonna allow me to be stupid. And this is what I realized in the course of the show, in terms of performance that I almost single-handedly owe to you. And I mean this is sincere. I was able to do really dumb stuff and probably overdo things in a way that I wouldn't have been able to do it if you wouldn't have just been like, you done yet?
Yeah. She gave you the
balance.
space.
It's
Yeah. It's a balance.
absolutely true.
It's a balance, right?
Yeah.
It's a balance. And I thank you for that. It's
true.
Can say so many things about you, but I guess
And
since
also,
you
you're
invited
welcome
me-
for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And you're welcome.
You're welcome. No, but I think there was this balance. There was a trust.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think the very fortunate thing with the couples on our show is there was like a trust amongst the actors as well.
Yeah.
So I felt like we were reading from the same handbook.
Yeah.
You know, we've trained at the same place. We
Yeah.
know, and it's like,
Yeah.
all right, so I know SK, if I go here, you go here.
Sure.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I know you're not gonna leave me hanging. There's no
Yeah.
intention of that.
Right.
You know, and it was never about I shine, I shine. It was
Together.
always like, what is the story?
Yeah.
How do we bring this story? How much truth can we tell in this 5-minute scene?
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
And that's what we were very much committed to.
Absolutely.
And that was the fun of it to me. You know,
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah.
oh, this can go anywhere. And then so that led to like, oh, this couple can go anywhere. Oh, this couple is committed to each other. This couple is honest. This couple is like, they're not, it is taken for granted that they have chosen to be together. And we'll see how they work that out.
Yeah.
That's not mean sunshine and roses every day, but we'll
No,
see
ma'am.
how they survive that,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's why when we almost didn't make it, people was threatening.
Stop watching the show. Yeah.
Okay,
Lie.
so for those who haven't got to season 3.
Oh, am I jumping?
No, you're fine.
Okay,
You're totally
okay.
fine because we're just talking about you. For those who haven't gotten to season 3, take a
What's in
break.
season 3? Okay.
So we get to season 3, and a lot of our through line in that over that time is sort of like Randall has these political aspirations. Beth is rediscovering what it is that she wants to do with her life with regards to dance, etc. And they're happening at the same time.
Right.
And if he pursues this thing, which is like he has to drive to Philadelphia and we're still living in New Jersey
That's
at the
right.
time, like how does that impact what she wants to do in terms of moving forward with her own personal aspirations that she has put on hold for such a long time? And so
Selfish.
there's a riff that occurs in R&B.
Yeah.
I can remember my wife saying to me, hey, if Lucius and Cookie can figure it out, then I know Randall and Beth better get their stuff
Right,
together.
Michelle Bethany.
I can't. Well,
But what was it like? So what, during that season or whatnot? Because I think we both cherished it a lot because we didn't want people to think that we were just, it was easy.
Yeah, that's
It was
right.
like Sunday
That's right.
morning and you just wake up and like, hey girl, hey
Yeah,
girl.
it's always good. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have to go through some stuff in order for like what lasts to be valued.
Yeah.
Right? So I think we were both eager
Yeah,
to
excited
see
about it.
what would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excited about it and not worried about who's going to take what side.
Right.
You know, I knew people's going to be on mine. And
That was going to be hard.
But
yeah,
that was
that
gonna
was
be hard for him.
interesting because, okay, so just fast forward a little
Some
bit.
people did.
There was a moment where I needed you to come to meet up with these other council members.
Oh, and you left the phone call?
And I left the message on the phone, right?
Oh.
And then you showed up at
Yeah.
the thing. And I was like, hey, listen, I left you a message on your phone. Not a big deal. Just ignore it. And then she's like, oh, you mean the one where you like cursed me out for not showing up? And I was like, oh, that's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. And I don't know if it was the same episode or later where I said, hey, look, I know you want to do some stuff, but like if you could just put a pin in that for now. And as soon as I read the line on the page,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm telling this woman to put a pin in it. And I was like,
This
Brown,
won't end well.
I said to
prepared.
myself,
Just
Brown,
prepare.
I said, Brown, how charming can you be, bro, to try to keep people on the line while you telling this woman to put a pin in it, Jack?
Let me tell you, it was, but the thing about it that I loved, I think, you know, was the fact that we went for it. Like we both went for it for
Yeah.
our size. It wasn't, you know, no, I was no longer the woman that you were describing before, where it was like you could be all over
Right.
the place and I
No,
was going to
it's
be
very
this.
true.
It was like, okay, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fend for yourself. You
You
know
were
what I
pushed to
mean?
the brink.
Yeah. And I was going to fend for myself. And
Yeah.
and that was meaty and really interesting.
It
And
was.
people really did not know if we would make it.
Yeah.
They really didn't know if we always knew, right?
Yeah, we knew.
We knew. Okay.
We knew. I mean, Dan had stated from the beginning, like this couple will be together, but we needed to make people feel
Yeah, we needed to.
like,
question it.
You
Sure.
know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
We knew somebody was going to have to get divorced.
Sorry. Sorry, man.
That made me so sad.
If we're listen, spoiler alert. If we're exploring exploring every aspect of relationships,
Yeah.
somebody in this
Yeah.
show has got to.
Statistically, sure.
Yeah.
Statistically.
But what was so smart about, because I did not like that you guys got divorced at first, but what's smart about it, story-wise,
Yeah.
is that you guys sort of met in this place of brokenness. And in real life, when people kind of bond in broken places and then somebody starts to heal, inevitably that bond doesn't work.
Yeah.
So when I saw
Good
like your
point.
character growing and shifting and changing, it made sense when you go back. I was like, oh, he's not in that place.
Yeah.
No.
And she's sort of still struggling with some of those issues. And he really has come up, but that doesn't mean he wants to leave her.
Right.
Yeah.
But it just means that place of connection,
Yeah, that deal that they made.
that deal they made is the contract has been broken.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
that's a good point.
So that's how smart they were with
Come
the
on
writing.
now.
It
Yeah.
was smart.
Who has 2 fingers?
And
Who has
points
2
like
hands?
this.
Who has 2 hands?
This girl.
Classic.
Obviously, this show has changed all of our lives in countless ways. But how did the show early on, say in like the first season, change the way you moved through the world? Like, what was people's
good
response
That's great.
to you in the wild?
Well, you guys know it was. You guys know it was like we were doing this for so long in a bubble. I remember us saying like, "Oh, we're in this cocoon, this bubble. We're just doing this thing that we really love, and it'll be on TV one day." And then it gets on TV. And I remember the first night, like after it aired, I went to something at EPLP or Melrose over there.
Okay.
And I remember crossing the street and this dude rolled up when his lady was in the passenger seat and they were in a convertible. And he was like, yo, from This Is Us, right? I love that. I mean, it's like the next night, the
Instantaneous.
next day. And I said, oh, things done changed. You know what I mean? It was like, it was overnight to me, that things had changed. And then and I remember as the years of the show went by, there was a point. It's not like this now, because I think now it's a bit evened out
Yeah.
a bit more. But I remember coming out of my brownstone I was living in Brooklyn, and I remember I got as far as just down the steps, and it started. And I thought, oh no. You know what I mean? I was
A little
like,
loss of anonymity.
yeah. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
and then I was like, all right, it's this balance of like, all right, Sue, if people are doing that, that means they know the work and they appreciate the work. So you can't get like super cynical or like, oh, now I can't, nah. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, all right, this is what comes, and there's that. And of course it's, people want pictures and selfies, or people run up to you crying, or people want to grab you, or they want to, they want to hug you.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying?
I do.
Because there has been intimacy exchanged.
A lot.
We weren't there
Right.
physically when it was happening.
Right.
But
people want to, because in your mind, you're their best friend.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Your family.
Your family,
Yes.
there's something about you that doesn't want to take that from them, but you're also like, I don't know you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when somebody's like, Sue, now I'm automatically like, if you call me Sue, I'm like, okay, who?
That's an easier
What's up?
turn
Yeah.
than Beth.
happened to me 2 days ago.
Yeah.
He was like, Chris. And I was like, hey. And I faked like I knew him because he'd call me Chris.
Same,
Right.
I do
I'm
that all
like,
the
hey.
time.
Yes,
And he's
yeah.
like, I know you from that show. And I was like, oh,
I don't know
have a
you.
good day.
Right. Good day, sir.
Let me ask this question, because you just brought this up, and I can open this to everybody. We'll start with Sue. What is your picture protocol / philosophy when requested? Is there a time and place in which you will? Is there a time and place
Yeah.
in which you won't? Is it vary by
Sterling,
case?
just
by
ask.
case?
She'll take a picture with you.
No.
You guys are
I'm
old friends.
Just curious, because like it's something that we all sort of have to like figure out. What's your protocol?
If you want to get a selfie, man.
After, okay.
I'm in the
Now
middle.
sounds
I'm in the middle of something.
Okay, so here I try not to do bathrooms,
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Good call.
I love that you put
M&Ms.
try in there.
Okay.
I will. But I try not to.
right? I try it out.
You've washed your hands.
Right. Trying to do bathrooms.
to the bathroom.
I don't do what's like when I'm eating with family.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm in the middle of a meal.
Yeah. What is the response when they come with the approach?
Well, they come up and they say, "Oh my God,
hate to bother
I
you."
hate to bother you, especially while you're eating.
Yeah.
Like I would never
Are you
do
like,
this."
Well,
And, like,
you're going to
you
be
know,
very disappointed to find out that I am eating.
And bothered.
If you look slightly over this way.
and your
Okay.
family is there, and then like church,
Okay.
and then like that's it though. I'm very like easygoing about the picture taking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it because you know what? I look at people. I know it's gonna sound corny,
for it.
whatever.
Whatever.
But like I see my mom asking for autographs whenever we come out of like the theater. She loves to get all her autographs. She has like August Wilson's autograph. She has like, you know what I mean? She gets everybody.
Yeah.
I see my mom. I see my nephew when I take him to the game and he sees a sports player. What do you call them? Athletes?
A sports player.
A sports player. Yeah. He sees a sports
A
player.
ball mover.
And and wants a selfie with a sports player. And I don't want them to,
Never ever calling it anything else again.
So good.
Who's that sports player?
Yeah.
I can't remember. LeBron.
What's the name of that sports player, baby?
Sports player.
I see. That's what I see when
Right.
people come. And so, this means something to people.
Yes.
I can't like unsee that.
Okay.
You know?
I want-
are their LeBron.
I want everybody to answer this one. I'm gonna chime in on this a little bit.
You
Mandy
pull-
Moore,
you pull
do
baby
you have
powder
a
out of your back
protocol?
pocket.
Stop. Do you have a protocol when it comes to the photo?
I feel aligned with Sue.
Okay.
The like dinner with family. Like, yeah, you kind of, it's a case by case situation because
Yeah.
sometimes you're like, I'm in the middle of like checking in at the airport and things are a little hairy.
I was actually
Yeah.
just about to ask what you do
Yeah.
early morning at the airport.
You know,
Airport ones. Can I add that?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're just off a flight and
Yeah.
you're looking like, who shot John?
Yeah.
You know what I
Who
mean?
shot John?
And this the shot y'all want?
Yeah.
You like, you sure you want this one?
Yeah.
Yes.
totally.
You know?
I mean, I'm
Yes.
fine, but look at you. You're in your pajamas,
I
sir.
mean, I had a hot towel.
Yeah.
So case by case, but like not at the airport. They're trying not to do the bathroom, not with the family when you're eating.
Yeah, but otherwise it's
But
all
otherwise you're
fair
good.
game. Absolutely.
So
Only bathrooms. Only bathrooms.
only stalls in
Only stalls in bathrooms. If you want to find me, if you see me in public,
Now we keep
you
the
wait
stall
until we
open
can have
so
some
nobody
privacy.
gets the wrong idea.
We have
But besides that-
listen. There's good light,
The worst life.
good acoustics.
First light.
Maybe for you, not for an Irishman.
If
Brings
you
out all
don't
my ruddy
edit that
nature.
out, this is gonna be This Was Us. So the only place is a bathroom. I said, I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna be an accessory to this
had a
conversation.
man at a public pool try to follow. Like I was going in there, and he was like, "Hey, can I get a photo?" And I'm in my bathing suit with like my clothes. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I turned to him. I said, "Let me just get dressed first." And it like took him a second, and he was like, "Yeah, yes, of course.
Yes.
So sorry,
So
so
because
sorry."
they're shooting their shot. It's like this is my opportunity.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
me take advantage of
Yeah.
what I
We
can.
understand.
And
I-
it means a lot.
I've gotten to a place where I have a whole thing with the kids where I don't take pictures when I'm with my kids because they deserve to be the center of attention. And it's a weird thing for them to have to navigate being like, why is everybody always trying to be around my dad type of thing? Most of the other ones are case by case scenarios, but what I have learned, I was like, listen, can't do a picture right now, but I do appreciate the fandom. Can I give you a hug? And usually people are pretty cool with that because the
nice.
thing about the picture is if it doesn't come out the way they want it the first time, they're like, oh, sorry, it's a little, can I get up? And then like, can we move into this light? And then it's like,
it's
And
a
they
photo
don't know how-
shoot.
They don't know how to use
a
their
little- and
camera.
they don't know. They think it's just their turn, but like that happens a lot, or whatever. So I'm never discourteous in
No.
the whole process because I understand that. I try to be gracious, but I also recognize that I need to be present to whatever it was that I was doing that they didn't know that I was doing.
For sure.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's it's never like, and I feel this way about us because we were like this, I think, as just people.
Yeah.
It's never lost on us that like people want this picture and
Yeah.
they want
What
to
a
spend the
privilege it is
moment.
to be in that
You know what I'm
position.
saying?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I still remember the Sue auditioning for Familiar. You know what I'm saying? With her jaws on the
Underwear.
floor. So it's not, and it's so there. But you do have to draw some boundary.
Sure.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean for your life and everything like that. Yeah.
More That Was Us after these words from our sponsors.
Now, for those of you out there looking to save money on everyday essentials like gas and groceries, we have something for you. It's time to check out Upside.
You can't just cut those purchases out of your budget. But now, thanks to a 2024 money back hack, you can get cash back from them with Upside.
Haha! Upside is an incredible app for anyone who buys gas, groceries, or dines out. With Upside, you get cash back on every purchase. It's our secret weapon for staying on track with those savings goals. You guys, this I had not heard about this app until we got this sponsor, and then I've been using it.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, I put my payment method, like my credit card or whatever I want to use to buy gas, groceries, whatever it is, into the app. Then there's a map that pops up with deals in the area. And it's like 50 cents off per gallon at this gas station.
Wow.
10% back at this grocery store. You just go there, make your purchase, collect the offer, and the cash back goes straight back to you in the app.
Whoa!
That's
Yeah, I'm telling you.
incredible. Well, to get started, for those of you out there, you can download the free Upside app and use our promo code TWU to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon of your first tank of gas.
Next, claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside. Then pay as usual with a credit or debit card. Follow the steps in the app and get paid.
And in comparison to credit card rewards or loyalty programs, you can earn 3 times more cash back with Upside.
Download the free Upside app and use promo code TWU to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. That's an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas using promo code TWU.
I'm asking all the questions. You guys.
No, this is fantastic. I feel like I'm just an observer in the best way.
I mean, you were the ambassador for the East Coast for us because you were traveling back and forth.
Oh,
so,
1,000.
so like,
1,000.
I don't know. For me, the first couple seasons felt like such a one giant season because we would roll into press
Sure.
for the first
Right.
season, and by the time we were done with that, we were starting the second, and like I never went anywhere. Like, I never went outside of Los Angeles, but I remember the first time going outside of LA
Yeah.
and traveling somewhere.
Going overseas. When I was in London, when I was in South Africa. Huge. This is
South
insane.
Africa?
Oh yeah. I get stopped in South
Wow.
Africa all the
South
time.
Africa?
South Africa.
I mean, so it's big.
I will say, because I would go home to visit family in St. Louis. And I was like, oh, this hit different in the Midwest. Like,
Right.
it was like LA would be something like, people would say, hey, Randall. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And then I go home and like, I could not go to the Galleria.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I can't actually shop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time in my life that I had ever experienced that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was weird.
That's incredible.
It was weird. Do you remember when we were shooting downtown, Sue?
Yeah.
This dude comes up to us.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were together, and he goes, hey, I just want to let you guys know that your show saved my life. Or it saved my life and my brother's life or something.
Yes. Actually,
Yeah.
I do.
And
Yep.
and he's just like, can I get a hug or whatnot? I'm like, I don't even know if he wanted a hug. He just wanted to let us know that the show had saved his brother's life.
Yeah.
And we were like, right on, man.
Yeah.
And like those sorts of things, while it like at the moment felt sort of strange, is like the show hit people.
It did. I feel like I can share this. I hope I can share this. Who knows?
Go for it.
The actor who played Tommy on Martin, a friend of his, I knew through a friend. And he got in touch with me, I think via Twitter or something. And then I think we ended up talking on the phone. And unfortunately, through some mishap surgery, I can't remember quite what happened, but Tommy was like dying, and his friend told me, he asked him, what do you want to watch? What can I put on for you? What do you want? Like in these moments or whatever. And he said, put on This Is Us. Whoa. And that was like in the early,
Yeah.
that was like
it
the
may have been
first or
season
second
one or
season.
two.
Yeah. And that's when I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like what is this? And we better be some real good guardians over this because this is like special.
Struck a nerve.
It really did. Yeah.
A lot of the storylines, these personal storylines, I don't know if you all had this same thing where I think I remember talking about this with several people on set where it was like, have the writers been in my living room? Like I
Yeah.
just had this
Sure.
argument.
Yeah.
I just had this conversation. I just
Yeah.
had that. And then it kind of became prophetic. Like my life started unfolding
Sure.
as the
As
show
the
was
show was
unfolding
doing,
with
yep.
kids and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
all of these things. And for a while I thought it was spooky. And then I just am starting to realize, oh, it's universal.
Yeah. And look
Like-
how many storylines there were. Look how many of us, look how
Right.
many different storylines they could follow.
Yeah.
So it was
Right.
like, I always felt like if you had a favorite or not, it was like, there's somebody on this show who's living out your life.
Yes.
Out of the 18 of
Right.
us,
Yeah.
somebody on here is doing what you're doing.
A quick follow-up on that was like, was there anything in
Yeah.
your Do you do it? We're going to ask the same question
no,
at the
no,
same
I
time.
was-
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Was
there anything
in
about your character that related
resonated in
directly
your
to your life?
Okay.
It was the same question.
Yes, and I was also going to ask, like,
Oh my God.
and were you ever in the writer's room? Did you help, like, inform some of the direction that, like, Beth went in because you were able to talk to the writers and influence them a little bit?
Yeah, I think I remember, I think the one thing that got, no, maybe two. The one or two things that got in there, I remember texting Kay Oyegun. And I sat in the writer's room one day, and when I went home, I remember texting her and being like, "Oh, and just so you know, I used to dance. If you guys ever want to use that." Wow. Like that was like season 1. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then it found its way in there.
Wow.
So, but it was literally from a text, and I promise you, it was one sentence. Just so you know, I used to
favorite
dance. If you guys
storylines.
ever.
Same.
Oh, well, that was from that text, and then I thought
Innocent.
she was a little bohemian. I thought, I just felt like she was a little bohemian at heart. There was something about her and that worked its way gradually into it.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if you guys remembered the rumor about Beth being about to die or Beth was going to die.
What?
Do y'all ever remember that?
No.
That was me. I started that.
Okay.
I started all of them.
I
was just
The
trying to
internet
get
rumors.
just trying to get
that
attention.
was an internet rumor that like is like she's
I don't
dead.
remember
And you don't remember that?
Oh no, I do.
Do you remember this?
Well, because
don't.
as we flashed forward, we would start to see
And we
different
didn't see
people.
Beth for a while,
And we
and so
had
people were
not
like,
seen
where
Beth
is
for a long
Oh, is
time.
that what it was?
That's
I
because
just
you
remember the rumor.
because you showed up to the house
I was
alone.
like the first person to show. Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
where
Is that what it was?
it came
Okay.
Yeah.
from.
Okay.
I was like, I had not heard that rumor.
Yeah.
But that
Yes.
makes sense.
As soon as Jack died, the audience the whole time was like,
like,
"Are they dead?
Are we
Are they
really-
also dead?"
Who's
It's
dead?
when you-
Who's dead?
When you lose Ned Stark, it's like
It is.
anybody-
Everybody's up for grabs.
everybody's
Because the
up
same
for
thing
Everybody's
happened
up
with
for grabs.
Chrissy when I showed up at the house alone.
Yeah, the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Same
okay.
thing.
So they
Yeah.
thought Chrissy was dead. Okay.
Here's a question about that because you said a little bit bohemian and what have you. I'm wondering, this is a hair sort of thing and decisions that you chose with hair, which I think were absolutely humongous. And I don't know what kind of feedback you got from it, but from the outside looking in, I was like, this is almost like revolutionary in a really powerful way. Can you speak to this at all?
Yeah, it's really interesting because, you think about it now, and it's so common to see a Black woman on TV wearing
It's a
her
little
hair.
more, but I don't think it's on the number one
Network.
TV show 6 years in a row. You have a sister front and center who is
They
natural.
were not doing that before then.
No.
And what I really appreciated was that when I started the show, I had just a year or two before cut all the perm out, relaxer out of my hair.
Okay.
And so I had this natural hair and I had a little bit of this curly bun going on when we did the audition.
Yeah.
And I remember, because I changed my hair up and got like these really like what Jamaicans would call like natty looking braids that just look kind of undone, but they're cool. They look very bohemian. And I remember emailing my team and saying, well, I have my hair like this now. You think I should like send them a picture or do something to let them know? And they were like, you might want to take them out or put your hair back the way it was or let them know. And I remember thinking to myself, let me just show up and see what they say. You never know.
Can always take them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know.
always
Hard to
change your
put 'em
hair.
back in.
Right.
There you go.
It was like, you never know. And, if somebody says something, then I say something. But
Yeah.
if nobody,
Yeah.
So I remember walking into the read through and they were like 3 execs from NBC. And they saw me like, oh, your hair looks really nice. And that was it. And I
Okay.
remember for me, every light said go after that. It was never, every light to me in my head was like, go, just keep going, And so I made it, the commitment was to like, what is a real Black woman in these United States of America?
Yeah.
What does that look like that we haven't seen? So
Yeah.
what aspects of that haven't we seen that we all know about,
Absolutely.
but maybe, the world at large doesn't know about? And one of the things that is such a big deal is Black women's hair.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm just going to be real about whatever that is. And so we change it up a lot, especially when it's natural. You just do that.
Yeah.
And we do go to work in these corporate jobs, and if we don't, we should. be able to. And so it was like, I'm just gonna do that in like this little quiet corner of this Beth world and just let that be. But in my mind, that's all it was. It was like, I'm just going to be authentic to that.
Yeah.
I had no clue what the effect, that impact
What was
would
it?
have.
Were those conversations
Like,
you were having with hair and makeup,
no,
just like,
I just
let's try
didn't
this.
say-
Let's try this.
And for the first season, I did my own hair for the most part because we didn't have anyone on set yet who was able
We
to.
had a few conversations about this in the trailer.
Yes, no one was able to do
your
natural hair to my hair and keep it healthy and do all the things. Like I was like, so I went, and I don't know how this stuff goes, right? But I just always learn. Well, you ask the people who run everything. You know what I mean? You know, so I put the email and just all the top executives. So I was like, Dan, Jess, and Michael, right? I said, I just want to be able to walk. Essentially, I want to be able to walk into a trail, and if my hair is wet, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to walk in like anybody else can walk in and get my hair done from start to finish and not feel like I had to stay up an extra hour and a half at night to set it to come to work.
Yeah,
and so
100%.
and so we did that, and to their absolute credit, it was like, and you will have it. You know what I mean? There was not a blink of an eye. Michael Rice was the dopest. He was like, I will keep bringing in folks into you, head of hair. He was like, I will keep bringing in folks. He had people get their union card on the show so that they could do my hair on that show. And then I will never forget when I saw an anchor woman on CNN or something with braids in their hair, and I'd never seen that before. And I was like, oh, look at what now. Other people were doing this other people were doing this by this point on TV. But like, when I started to see that, I was like, all right, the power of like what visibility and like showing who we are can do and what it normalizes and what it gives people the freedom to do. And you have people getting kicked out of school and off of sports teams because of their hair. You have little girls being suspended and teachers going in and cutting off their hair while they're at school. And they have to make laws to allow people to wear their hair the way it grows out of their head naturally. You have to create a law around it. Yeah, I'm gonna do my little thing, my little part in making sure we understand that it's just what it is. You know what I mean? And so that is part of the privilege of getting to do what we do. It's like also reminding ourselves, like, what else can we take into this with us that liberates?
It is also a testimony to the environment in which we work that you could talk to Dan and Jess and Michael and be heard.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Dan started to tell me, he was like, I just knew, because I was going hard with it at one point. And like, I was like, okay, now we're going to have a break going this way, but on this side is Afro Puff. You know what I mean? Like, it was a lot. And I remember Dan saying, and somebody was saying to me, I remember at one point, somebody on my team at one point was like, when you go on red carpets, try to wear your hair all the same because people don't know you yet and they want to be able to like recognize you.
Oh my goodness.
And
that's a common
thing. I never did it. And guess what? People recognize me for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, you got to go with like what you know and like what's in your heart and like what comes to you authentically. But I remember Dan said to me one time when he's editing, he's like, Sue, every time I'm in an editing room, I'm always like, I can't wait to see what Sue's hair looks like this week. And I thought, well, how amazing is it to have, El Jefe, you know what I'm saying? Go like, yo, I'm just down with whatever you're doing. It's all good. It's not getting in our way in any way, know? And that's the kind of show we had, man. Like people were listening. They wanted to know what your true life experience was so that we could bring it to this.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Gang. Wow.
This is Susan Kelechi Watson.
We ended on a hair note.
In the house. Is there another note that you want to end on? Is there something that you want to say?
Isn't that, I feel like that's a great.
I think I'm happy.
We ended on shea butter and coconut oil.
Come on, let's do it.
You know what I mean?
We're going to have you back and talk about like the specificity of like a few episodes. So please.
For sure.
Please indulge us and come back so we can.
We'll happily come back.
Regale the world with how much we love you and are obsessed with your work. And really, you are just such a beacon of the show. And I could hear you guys have a conversation and pipe in for like the rest of my life. It's just what an honor.
You guys, this is awesome. Honoring the show like this. Isn't this amazing?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's
It's
really
pretty cool, and we
damn
thank
cool.
you for being here.
Yeah,
I am
and
so
sharing
happy to
with
be
us.
here.
I love you as always.
I love you.
You
It says
want to say that?
I don't hide it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was us. That was us. That was us.
That Was Us is filmed at The Crow and produced by Rabbit Grin Productions and Sarah Warehan. Music by Taylor Goldsmith and Griffin Goldsmith.